Yeah.
Alrighty. Welcome to Path Studio, where we talk to people from different paths of life, whether they're an artist, influencer, entrepreneur, developer, or designer. Let's get to know the story of their path. My name is Arturo Montiel, CEO of Path Studio, and I'm joined here today with my friend Mirza, a graphic designer that's been designing a poster for 849 days as of today. Welcome. Welcome to the
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you very much, Arturo.
Of course, man. So for the people that don't know who you are, do you mind giving yourself like a little bit of an intro?
Sure. Well, where should I begin?
Wherever you
I
want,
like
man.
to do, I like to describe myself as a graphic designer slash art director because that's what I work. That's what I'm working in right now. And yeah, I'm passionate about everything visual. I love visual communication, and I like to study things and just curious about like how things work and trying to break them down, understand them, and hopefully I can get like some inspiration from it and use it in my work or in my daily process of creating a poster or stuff like that. So that's like the creative side of me. Uh, I like to go out and have move my body and work out in different
Heck yeah.
ways. Yeah,
That's so
and
important.
yeah, and it's I find it really connected to like the mental side of everything. Like
Mm.
your brain works much better if your body is working and like you keep it motivated and happy, and then
Yeah.
like the creativity gets easier as well.
It definitely does. It definitely does. Because man, if you're because as a creative, I don't think we're running and walking while doing our work. Definitely think we're sitting down, hunched over, and just
Hmm.
looking at a screen or pencil or paper. And so when we're able to move our bodies, we're able to just think about anything and everything. So it's like where the shower thoughts comes from. Where you're in the shower, you get like your best ideas. That's exactly
Yeah.
where it's at. How'd you even get into graphic design? Were you always into uh as you said visual communication through that medium or
No, I don't think like I didn't have, for me at least, I think the epiphany or like the door opening into the graphic design world, it came pretty late because I'm 32, I'm turning 32 this year. So
oh
yeah, and like I discovered it like during my when I was studying in the at the university. I studied media technology, so the program was pretty like intense in theory, and we were studying a lot of like math and programming and the theory behind computer graphics and stuff like that. So like uh, if I had to proceed like that journey, I would have been working with like I would be the guy who invented the new like tool for Photoshop. I would not be using Photoshop. I would be like creating the tools for people
wow.
to use Photoshop. So that's basically what I was studying. But I fell in love with the part where the practical part, like where okay, I know the theory, like we've studied the theory, but wait a minute, well, how about the practical part? Like
Mm,
where can we put this into action, and where can we start making and building things? And that's where like I knew like okay, this is it. Like yeah, if I can open up a program and make like whatever I want, like a virtual world inside it, and create my own limits and defy gravity and move stuff around and create characters and whatever. So that was like okay, this is so cool. I want to proceed this. I want to work with this, and that's like when I found, I would say my that was my passion and why I found my passion. But like before that, I was actually not too keen on like technology and computers. I was never like into that as a kid in a young age. So I'm more of like I still like to draw, like do stuff and draw things. But as a kid, I was more into like skateboarding and and music and stuff like that.
As you should, as you should. Imagine
Yeah.
imagine being a kid. You're like, "Yeah, I wanna program," which is good though, because like, when I was a kid, I wanted to just play video games and skateboard just as you,
Mm,
but my little cousin, he wants to get into coding and programming.
mm.
So it's a different world that we're living in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People are discovering way earlier now, like at least like the niches where you can like jump in and just get yourself lost in that world, and eventually you may like run that down that path and go study and become a profession. It becomes a profession after a while.
Right, right. So
Uh,
you never you said you get out of, like, the programming, course that you were going into for?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was a 5 year, 5 year. How do you say, like a program
Like a
or
5-year degree kinda thing?
5 year degree? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And after like the first 3 years were like mostly the theory. There's some courses here and there where
Mm.
like, okay, this is an intro to Adobe Illustrator, or here's an intro to Photoshop. Here's a short intro on how to make a movie and like edit and stuff like that,
Mm.
and try After Effects and things like that. But there was like pretty limited, and most of the stuff were theory based and like mathematics and programming. And then like after the first 3 years I struggled through that, so like I had to like, okay, I believe in this, I can I can learn this. So I struggled to go through those the first period of 3 years. And then after that, like you it opened up, like the possibilities open up, so you could start to niche yourself into different like categories.
Oh.
Some of my homies, they went into like web programming. Some went into like creating tools for the movie industry and
Oh,
VFX
okay,
and
okay.
stuff like that.
I thought it was like a just a programming degree that just
Mm,
ironically taught you, like, the Adobe suite.
no, 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 no.
No. Oh, okay, okay. That's actually so cool. So from there, that's how you got into graphic design.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, cool. That's there we go. Cause like, I was, like, trying to connect it. Um,
yeah.
so did you get out of school and did you go into graphic design, like, to work as a professional graphic designer, or?
Yeah, eventually. Like this is as I said, it was a 5 year program or education. And
Mhm.
like at 4.5 years or 4 years, I just like I had found that passion for graphic design and animation as well, because I was blown away when I could understand that, like, okay, I can animate stuff inside here, I can create like movies and characters and build stuff and stuff like that. So immediately after learning that course, I went home and I downloaded Cinema 4D. Like that, this was the Pirate Bay time, so the torrents and didn't buy for anything, didn't pay for anything, just downloaded it and started like
The good old days.
immersing myself into like that world. I was just watching Grayscale Gorilla. Do you know that guy? He's
Mm-mm.
a very nice teacher in 3D. His name is Nick Campbell, I believe. He has a ton of great resources online on
Sick.
the website Grayscale Gorilla. So for the people who want to learn like 3D and Cinema 4D, the program, amazing, like
Yeah.
tutorials and courses and everything. So I watched his videos like one every day. So he's teaching like a thing, and then I copied that, so I learned like the tutorial, and then I like went back into it and just, okay, what happens if I change this parameter, or happens if I do this instead. So I like experimented with the thing I learned. So eventually that like led me into a different path, and I created something different from what he's shown in the short tutorial. And like each day, like I built one tool at a time or one skill at a time. So I learned that, and that's a piece of the puzzle. And then went on and learned another thing, and then like eventually like I just sat in my spare time and experimented. I would say like
That's awesome.
any free time I had, like and I didn't have like much resource. I had a like 30-inch MacBook Pro laptop, and I can't believe to this day like how it survived like living with me for 4 years, because the fans are on like 24 hours, rendering times like over a day, like during the night. It
We
just
love 3D art. 3D art. That's the only reason why I don't go into it, is because I tried with Blender. I tried rendering like a perfect sphere. I almost
hmm
broke my computer. Like it was so bad. Like you have to have some bumps on it. I didn't know that. So like
mm.
literally my computer's like 3-day render time. I'm like, wait, we're quitting all applications right now. Oh
Yeah.
man. And so from there, how did you transition into, because there's so much to unpack. You're like an onion, and that's why like I like that's literally why I wanted to talk to you so bad, because one, like you are a professional graphic designer, but just to get to that, you have to learn so many other things. And on top of that, no one's just like, I'm gonna be a graphic designer. Like
mm,
no, and then there are rare, they are very
mm,
rare, and so it's just interesting. And on top of that, you do social media. You have an amazing
mm.
following. Everybody's super supportive of your stuff. Like, how did you find yourself taking your graphic design and posting on social media? How?
Yeah, so it's a long story, but I'll try to like walk you through the steps, at
Oh, for
least
sure.
that I can
We're here for it.
reflect, yeah, reflect back into like what I think was the important, crucial steps. So basically, like I decided from uni that like, okay, I need a break from this. I need to try this to uh, to try my wings and see if I could like land a job or land a gig based on the things I have learned during uni.
Mm,
So the one thing that like was the breaking point for me was like I was doing those things at home. I was like showing them to my friends. There was not much else going on. Uh, and me and a friend, we started DJing together, like for like the frat parties and the students at the uni. So we came up with the name and we created like a brand and we did like visuals and I used like most of those animations that I created. I used them to create visuals for the
mm,
parties and stuff like that. So my younger brother, who's living in another city here in Sweden, he also was DJing with a group of friends at their in their city. So they were starting to get like bookings, like real bookings at like nightclubs and stuff like that. So one of the managers from the nightclub, he reached out to me and said like, okay, we want to pay you money to buy like visuals for our nightclub so that we can play that when your brother's playing. And that was like, I couldn't believe that. Like somebody wants to pay me money for this. Like I've been sitting doing this like in my spare time. Like I didn't find any value in it. Like, but then all of a sudden, like this guy comes along and wants to pay me money for it. Like, oh my god! Like I could. That was like an epiphany to me because
wow.
I didn't like realize that you could like make money off of it.
Right.
So that was definitely like, okay, this is possible, this is doable. I'm gonna make more of this stuff. Like maybe someone else wants to buy this, and that was basically like a jumping off point. Like I wanted to take this bachelor's degree and not finish the 5 years, just take a bachelor's degree, start doing like final projects. And I found a motion design studio here in the town where I live. And I applied to work with them, and they accepted me. And like after the final project was done, they asked me like, okay, so do you want to help us out on some projects and work with us for a few for a short time, maybe see if this works, and eventually we can like bring you on board. And I was like, yeah, totally. I love what you guys are doing, because they do like a lot of different stuff. It was basically only everything within motion design, so like commercials or visuals for like an artist or like
Even website?
at that time, no, there was not that much website stuff. It was
Mm,
mostly like commercials for both TV or the web, or like explainer videos,
that's
infomercials,
awesome.
and stuff like that. So yeah, I worked with them for a while, and after that, like I started my own company. So I went
Oh,
like
plug yourself.
freelance. Yeah, I did that for a while, and that was also like a very um, interesting journey because you work a lot. You work a lot of you put very much time in it, and you're not like you're completely free in both the good ways and the bad ways. Like you're
Mm,
the boss of your own self, so you have to be disciplined
yeah.
to put in the hours and put in the work. And you're not like at least for me when I was doing it, like I was always battling the like creative side and the like financial side. Like okay, I have to be calculating the numbers, crunching the numbers, and I also have to be creating, and I also have to be speaking with the client, and I also have to be like the project manager. There's so many roles
Yeah.
in
You wear a
in
lot of hats, man.
yeah. And that was like a big struggle for me. Like I just wanted to do the creative stuff because
Mm,
that was the thing that fueled me, like that the thing that I wanted to do. But yeah, I did that for like 2.5 years maybe. And eventually it was the financial things that like that broke me because every year here in Sweden, I don't know how it works abroad, but like every year here in Sweden, you have to do like a final calculation of how much money you've made, and then you have to pay taxes based on that. Like here in Sweden, we call it declaration. So you declare like your income, and then you have to pay taxes and a lot of other stuff based on that. And
we have something
uh,
very similar. It's like I have no idea like the professional term for it,
yeah.
but I think it's like on our calendars it's called tax day.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there's like a certain it's like starts you get a notification in your email in January, at least for me. And then in April is like the last day you're able to do it. And there's like a certain day of the week. It's called tax day. You have to get all the numbers. The government knows how much you owe in taxes. But they don't tell you. And then you have to figure it out. You get it wrong, you get
Yeah.
penalized. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Just tell me how much I owe
Yeah.
and I'll pay it.
Yeah. 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 It sounds very similar. But I think the difference is here that they don't know exactly how much you've made, so they do like you bring in the numbers, and then they can decide if something is fishy or not. Well, so they
Oh,
can like do and control like reevaluation. So they crack open the case and then just dig through all the papers and see if you've done everything correct and so on. So you have to save like every tax day. You have to save that day for at least 7 years, I think, because it needs to be able to trace back, so they can trace it back if something is
oh
weird.
wow.
Uh, but yeah, eventually, like as I said, like that whole thing was like every summer, because here it's in the summer you have to put in those papers. I would get like super stressed and like anxiety. Like I was like, this is not fun anymore. Like I don't want to do this. All based of like the fact that I had to like make sure everything is correct. So later on, I learned that like you don't have to do it yourself. You just pay someone else to do it. So that's a professional, so they can help you out with that. And now in hindsight, if I had started today, I would definitely like split up the workload, so somebody else keeps track of the numbers, and I can do like I can
Yeah.
focus on
Like an
my
accountant kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And do you not run the business anymore? Are you done?
And I mean, kind of like I have it on hold, but I don't like do I don't do that much commission work and stuff like that. I do sell like my posters,
Mm-hmm.
so if people are interested in buying like a poster, I can offer them like a digital print ready file, or if they live in Sweden, I can send them a print of
Oh,
the
that's so
poster.
cool. I'll visit Sweden,
Yeah.
man. I'll pick up a print.
Yeah,
Are those
yeah,
are
yeah.
those prints in the background yours? Like, are those real
Yeah,
prints?
yeah,
Oh, that's sick. Gorgeous. Oh man.
yeah.
No, I mean, that's a perfect segue into your social media for your posters. You've been for 849 days making a poster every single day.
Hmm.
And it's not just like this man's gonna like just post a screenshot of his poster. It was like he puts a mock-up, he puts a little close-up shots, he puts a description. Like it's a gorgeous presentation. Why'd you start that? Or actually,
Basically,
like when did you
yeah.
start that?
Basically, it's a lot started when the quarantine thing, COVID broke out here in Sweden,
Mm,
because I got to know from my boss, like where I work at now. He told me like, yeah, this thing has broken out in China and it's moving on, spreading to the world. So we will be moving into like quarantine soon. And if you're like scared of catching something, because I travel to work with a train, like a 40-minute ride with the train. And he
mm,
told me like, yeah, you're in a lot of contact with people. So if you're a little bit scared of catching anything, you can move from you can work from home if you want to. So I started
oh,
working
that's
on
nice.
remote. I brought my workstation and everything home, and I started working from home. And that was when I realized like, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of spare time now, because won't be going out because of the restrictions. uh, I need to keep myself busy. Like I need to keep
Mm,
myself creatively fulfilled, so
yeah.
that like I feel like I've done something. And that's when I decided on starting this poster challenge thing. I've seen like people like Baugasm and Beeple, Mike
Mm,
Winkelmann.
yeah.
Uh, they have inspired me for so long, and I've been like, oh my god, this is so cool that they do something every day. Like I've been thinking about that like in the back of my head for several years, but I never like actually sat down and did it. So that was like a perfect like um, opportunity for me to like, okay, now is the time that I can try this. So the first thing was like, okay, how can I set a realistic goal for myself? Like, should I start with like 100 days in a row? Well, no, that's too much. I can push myself to 30. So I set 30 days in a row as a challenge for myself. I didn't like post anything on Instagram or anything. I just set 30 days as a personal challenge, and I tried that, and I managed to do it. Like after a week, I was like, this isn't so hard. I can push through and finish 30 days. This is no problem. And once I got to 30, I realized, okay, I can up this goal to 100 days, and I should be starting to post things on my Instagram. So I started posting the 30 days, and as while I was posting the 30 days, I started to moving on up to 100. So I gave myself a little bit of like wiggle room
Mm,
to adapt and not feel super stressed in the beginning. And that was a great move on my end, I believe, because I definitely believe that the first 50 days or 100 days is the most difficult, because you struggle with the creative blocks, and you struggle with like not feeling inspired and stuff like that. But now, like after 100, you don't see it as like an obstacle anymore. You just see it like, okay, this is work. Like if I sit down, if I just start making stuff, an idea will just pop into my head, and I can just go down that route, and it will become something. I don't have to judge myself all the time. And it has evolved my creative process so much. Like I don't overthink stuff too much, and I don't like dive into fixing all the small problems and the details. I start to like zoom out more and focus on the structure and on the like core message or the idea and the concept itself. And then if I get that right, I 100% know that there's a poster inside here. Like there's an
mm.
idea, or there's a solution here. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I would say that the whole reason I started was COVID, just to keep myself busy, and since then it's just been rolling on.
Wow.
Uh,
No,
uh,
wow. That's actually seriously, that's actually absolutely amazing. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she was telling me how her creative process evolved the moment she stopped being a perfectionist and just started just she's a painter, and just started stroking the paints. Wait, I'm gonna clip that out. That sounded wrong. Whenever she started, whenever she started just painting without like hesitation, with no judgment, and something for a lot of creatives and people who want to get into the creative space, they're like, oh, it has to be perfect. It has to
mhm,
be the poster. It has to be the website. And
mm,
what something should take them like maybe 3 days max starting out takes them like a month.
mhm,
And the fact that you were able to find that out, especially in a time as forgiving as COVID, where like now we're kind of coming, at least here in the States. I don't know how it's in Sweden, but here in the States, like things are coming kind of back to how it was prior to COVID. So like that life of going like really fast, that fast life is coming back again. And so we don't have as much buffer time to sit down and really just dive into our processes and figure it out. So honestly, like
mm,
that's an incredible one lesson that you learned, and two advantage that you have, that you were able to take that time, sit down, and just break through all those barriers. And now you've been doing it for 850, almost 850 days.
mm.
Have you ever like have you ever stopped? Like, was there ever a time where you were like, hey, I could stop right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it was at the 2 year mark. I was like, should I be doing this for another year? Because if I keep on doing it for one more day, I need to finish the whole year because I know it's possible. So uh,
Your
I had
process is
to.
like that. Like your process is that good that you can have like one day you can be like 25 posters or even
No,
more?
no, 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 no. I mean, I was referring to like if I keep on doing this challenge for another day, then I have to like finish the whole year. I cannot stop
Oh,
at a weird number like 366 or something.
oh, okay. I
I
feel
need
you.
to finish.
All
Yeah.
right, awesome. No, man, that's incredible. Whenever I stumbled upon your post like around like I don't even know the number. I know it was like an early number. It was like three something.
Hmm.
And then I put your post on my saved, and I never followed you because I was like, oh cool, like another poster, cool, sick, sick, sick. And then I went back to like I had this like little save collection called I Dig. So it was like
Hmm.
design I Dig. And I went back and I was like, these are the like it was like five designers, and you're one of them. The other one was Barbiana Lou. I don't know if you follow her. I'll send you her stuff. She's incredible.
Hmm.
And and also Greedy by Design. I don't
Yeah, I
know if you
know
know
that guy.
them. Love
Mm.
them. And I was like, okay, let me just go back. And you were like on day six, like 700. I was like, this guy's still going. Oh my god! Like what the heck? And then, dude, it's just incredible. Like, if literally everybody should just go through your Instagram and just see the growth. And it's not even like at first it doesn't seem visible, the growth, but if you start looking at the posters and the presentation, it's just do you not just like look at your work and just say like wow, like I've come so far, or you're just like ah, that's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, of course, of course. I go back to like the first 100 days and look at the stuff there, and one side of me is like really proud, like okay, I've grown so much, like I've learned so many things, and the other side of me is like the critic. He just watches and like, okay, you should have been doing that, and why did you kern those letters more, and what about the composition here? It's not working and stuff like that. So I started analyzing my own work, but that's good too. I mean, it's good to be able to look at a piece of graphic design or a piece of art or anything and start thinking those terms like, okay, am I liking this, and why am I liking this? If I'm liking this, like what is making me interested
Mm,
in this? Like where does my eye go Why does it go there? Oh, this is because of the size, or because of the contrast, or because of the negative space, or because of the balance, or the hierarchy, or like there's so many cool things that you can like manipulate when it comes to graphic design and placement and scale and everything. So I feel like it's like I've made like 850 posters almost, but it feels like I haven't even started. Like I'm on the first
Really?
chapter of what's possible of doing, because there's so many different cool things you can create and explore, and like and that's what I love about this form. Definitely the best like personal project or challenge I've ever done, because I've never learned so fast in my whole life doing this, because
Wow.
every day is like if it's a mini exploration inside one confined area. And in the beginning, I can relate so much to the thing that you referred to with your friend there, that you have to make something and it has to look good and has to be perfect and everything
Yeah.
like that. But it's not about that. It's about like accepting that you will make mistakes, and
Mm,
you have to like analyze those mistakes and learn from them, so that you don't repeat them.
yeah.
But like every time you find something that you that ignites the spark, or sends you a certain direction that you like, then like make a mental note of that, and that you can always come back to it and drive take out more inspiration from it.
Mm.
So the cool thing now, like when I started doing the 100 posters, the first 100 days, um, uh, I was looking a lot at inspiration online. I was like looking at different designers, like, okay, what are they doing, and what do I like, and why do I like this? And I tried to like take inspiration a little bit here and there. But nowadays, when I've come so far, when it comes to like the volume of work that I have, I can look at my own stuff and like, okay, I dig this one from 322. Like, I like what I did there. I can take inspiration from this and make a new poster for today. So in some case, I can be inspired by my own work, and
That's
that's
beautiful.
really cool.
Yeah. Especially whenever you make, like as you said, like an amount of work like that, like you just
Hmm.
become like your own like reactor at that point. You're your own catalyst for your inspiration. And it's something that like I want to do, because whenever like I don't know if you know Chris Do.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
like Chris Do, like this man has like 21 years of work, and he looks at his work. I mean, sure, he gets inspired by other artists, but like I just think it's gorgeous how spending so much time in an industry and getting so much work under your belt, you're then able to actually like look at your work, critique it, be inspired from it, learn from it, and as you said, take mental note of it. And I've only been doing like UI UX design for like a year. I've only been developing for like 8 months, almost a year now. So like I just can't wait. I can't wait to see what I can do. And I'm actually you and I we talked about this on a personal level, but for the listeners at home, um currently with my UI design work, I want to look more into graphic design. Not to be a graphic designer, but because I think graphic design, as you said, is so liberating. There's no rules. Like you impose the rules onto yourself. Sure, there's like composition rules. Sure, there's grid rules that you can apply, right? But like really at the end of the day, like it's all interpreted by somebody's standards. Okay. And I think graphic design work is just the most liberating work that you're able to do. And I want to apply that into UI design. So how did you find how did you find that out? How did you find out that like graphic design was liberating? Why wasn't 3D art that liberating? Why wasn't motion design as liberating?
Um,
Was it just
I
because
think
like no, go ahead. Sorry,
Yeah.
go. No, go ahead.
No, I think the gateway came from, because when I started out like freelancing and doing work for my final project there at uni and stuff like that, I started out with motion design, or I came from basically the world of animation. So I started out with motion design, and as motion design evolved more and more into like 2D motion design, so like how can you move type and shapes and objects into a two-dimensional space and make it interesting and play with the rhythm and the cadence and the like flow of
Mhm.
everything and like diving into animation. So as I started working more and more professionally as a motion designer, and I got hired on the other motion designing studios, um, I started to also dig more into like the pre-production phase of making an animation, and that is basically a lot of graphic design. I mean, you make a storyboard, you sketch, and take notes and make ideas, and you sketch them on paper, and then you transfer them into a storyboard, and you make like final graphics, and you rig everything up, and then you go into production phase and you start to animate everything. So um, doing that kind of linear process for almost like 5 or 6 years, it made me like fall in love more and more into the like actual designing of a scene, or making a composition, or yeah, making the like this the pre-production for the actual animation. So I was doing a lot of designing back then as well, but I didn't have like the I was missing like the next level of knowledge when it comes to like layout, composition, typography
Mm.
for sure, maybe also color theory and stuff like that. So and for sure typography. I like overlooked typography for so long during my career, so I feel like kind of embarrassed
No,
now
me
that
too, man. Are you kidding me?
uh,
Like I have whenever I started web design, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, like I'll just put like any font. It'll work out. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly. And once I opened that like box, I understood like, okay, this is the holy grail of like graphic design. Like if you learn typography correctly, you everything else would be much easier. And it's funny that you mentioned Chris Doe, and because he runs this YouTube channel, The Future, and they have like, I think it's their sub channel, the Future Academy, where
Mm.
they jump into like different graphic design projects and analyze stuff. And I think that way back, I don't know when, but they released a typography class where him, Chris Doe, and another teacher called Bruckheim, I think, Mika Bruckheim. I don't know. I'm unsure about the pronunciation,
We'll find
but
her.
they had a master class together, so that they taught a bunch of students like typography from the basics, and that whole series I recommend everyone to
Yeah.
has a passion for graphic design to watch that, because I watched it and I like completely fell in love with typography, and I spent like probably 2 or 3 weeks like rewatching. I think every episode is 7 episodes. Every episode is like 2 hours. So I rewatched them like 4 or 5 times, like taking notes, trying ideas out, and like yeah, like trying to learn every single tip that they shared with me, and
Mm.
that like um, that course or that like lesson I learned is so valuable to me. Like I can't even describe how many tricks and tips I use from that in my daily poster
Wow.
challenges. I use them all the time. Like it's so valuable, and I'm 100% sure that like it's knowledge very good to have when it comes to UI and UX design as
Yeah.
well, and web design, because it applies everywhere. I mean, you're looking basically you're trying to have a conversation with the viewer. Like, I want you to look here. I want you to read this. I want you to look at this. I want you to move down here and maybe read this and also read that. So it's like you have to create a structure and a hierarchy for how you present stuff on the screen or on the paper or whatever your medium is. But like yeah, it's a way how you can help the viewer, help to guide the viewer through the information.
Yeah, man. Like
Um,
layout in general, layout and typography are like super important. And if you don't have those things, like I'm still learning those things. Like I don't think I'll ever stop learning about layout and typography because they're so intricate. Like just as you like they're like an onion. There's so many layers with it. You can go as deep as you want as like with it, but um if you had to choose, this is like a fun little question. If you had to choose like what's your favorite font or typeface to be politically correct here, what's which one's your favorite?
Helvetica,
Helvetica?
Helvetica Neue.
Oh, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
No, I thought it was
uh,
new.
I think it's Neue because it's is it
I'll take your
yeah,
word for it.
I think it's Neue. As
Helvetica Noe.
I heard someone say it. That's why I like put it in. I remembered it, but I don't know. I don't can't remember who said it. Maybe it's Chris Doe actually.
Maybe Chris Doe. If he says it, it's correct.
Yeah,
Oh man, no,
yeah.
I love Helvetica,
I think.
especially Helvetica Noise. Because when I saw your posters, I was like, I like this font. I don't know why, but I like this font, and I wasn't too familiar with too many fonts. I had like five custom fonts installed on my Mac,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is this is Helvetica Noise because I remade one of your posters like in Figma, and I was like,
Mm.
dude, this is Helvetica Noise. This guy's cool.
Mm.
This guy's awesome. Oh man, what software do you use to make your posters?
Um, I mean, usually the standard poster, it's Illustrator and then Photoshop. That's it. But like sometimes I plug in Cinema, I plug in After Effects, I do a whole bunch of crazy stuff on the analog things like printing paper, smudging it with like stuff, and scanning it back into the computer, or like gluing with pen and paper, gluing stuff, and drawing with and pens and
That's so
markers
cool.
and whatever.
Oh my God, that's
So,
so cool.
but the basic, yeah, I mean, the basic poster, like the digital ones, are basically Illustrator and Photoshop exclusively.
That's awesome, man. That's all. Do you know Piper Ferrari?
I recognize the name, but I don't.
So on Instagram, she does poster design, but it's
Yeah,
strictly with paper and like
uh,
physical objects that she scans in. So like
yeah,
I'll send you her stuff.
yeah,
I'll link
yeah.
everything down because her stuff is amazing as well. You really like it. But I want to talk about one last thing, which I think is super important for anybody that wants to get into the creative space. Movement, just moving your body, going outside. You said that was super important to you. How did you find that that was an importance to your life, especially creatively?
Mm, I think it stems back all the way to those young years when I was skateboarding, actually, because skateboarding is to me is such a creative sport.
Yeah.
It's weird to say it's sport, but it's like lifestyle sport, whatever. Um, but you're like constantly moving your body, but like in your head it's super creative. Like some people see an obstacle, you see it as an opportunity
Mm.
to do a trick on it, or learn something new. And the immense like uh, what do you call it, like trial and error, where you
Hmm.
like you have to push yourself and try a thing for like 1,000 tries before you learn a new trick. That's like, I think that stuck to me in my head, moving becoming older, and realizing like if I sit still all day, I need to be able to like activate my body somehow. And
Yeah.
I started like running a lot, and then that was also like helping me when once I had started the poster challenge thing, that I felt like, okay, I can think much more clearly. Like, okay,
Mm.
the ideas are coming. I can get inspiration from seeing things like around me. And nowadays I can get inspired by anything. Like I used to keep track of like all of the all the small ideas, like the seeds from to an idea, in my phone. So
Mm.
if I was watching TV or a movie or listening to a song and someone said a cool word or a sentence, I can write it down to like remember it later. Or if I walking down the street, I could see like a piece of architecture that was cool, like geometric shapes or something. I can make a note of that. So if I came across, when I came across a day where I had a like massive creative block, where like I don't have, I can't think of anything, then I can always go back to that list of many ideas, and that became like my savior for so many times when I felt stuck. Like, oh yeah, that was a cool sentence, or that's a cool word. I can do a visual that matches that word, and then you all of a sudden you have something to work on. Because I've learned through doing this challenge that like I become more creative by having limitations, as many limitations
Mm.
as possible. Because if it's completely free, like you can do whatever you want, there's no time limit, there's no nothing, I'm going to struggle with that a lot. Because I will fall into the insecure uh, thinking position of like, okay, I'm overanalyzing everything, I'm trying too much, instead of
Yeah,
like,
like you have more
okay,
time to do like unnecessary things.
yeah. So that's why in the beginning I said to myself, okay, you're going to stick to 50 by 70 centimeters, like in a canvas. It's
Mm.
going to be focused on typography, composition, and you don't have to apply color at all. So it's grayscale, totally grayscale. So eliminate color from the equation. Just focus on the like balance and the hierarchy and the contrast and the like, because I knew like if that works and I apply color to it, it will work even better. So I had to
Mm.
solve the first problem before moving on. So the first 100 days, I did only black and white, grayscale posters.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so yeah, and it was really liberating when I came to the 100 mark and like, okay, I can use color now. And then it's like a whole new world. Like,
I could use color now after 100
yeah.
days. No color. Oh man, that makes sense though, because I before this podcast, I was looking at your first work, and I was like, it's not black and white. This is really cool, but I didn't know. I wasn't like, oh, he's probably doing it on purpose. I was like, no, like
No.
this is intentional. This is just art. But that's crazy. So by setting limitations, you find yourself to be more creative.
Yeah.
I think do you have like a routine in place?
Yeah, I mean, 99% of the posters I make like roughly the same time at the in the day. So in the evenings usually, before like I've done my routine, and I have like an hour or 2 or 3 hours. Like I just the only limitation I have is like I have to get it out before 12 or midnight. So I want it out on Instagram before, I want to post it before midnight. So that's the only time limit I have. But then like, yeah, 99% of the time I find myself creating at that window of time in the evening.
That's
So,
incredible.
and then usually like I can have like I can one idea will pop up in the morning, and I will like think about it through the day, like, okay, how can I approach this, how can I test this, how can I do this, how can I try this out. And then when I sit, like I don't try to um uh, how should I explain it? I don't try to like find the perfect solution immediately. I try to like keep it as open as possible. So I sketch something out on an artboard, and I copy the artboard and I do some changes, and I copy that artboard and do some changes. So eventually, like I have like 10 or 12 different like options to choose from. And when I've done that, I can sit back and zoom out a little bit and just skip to that like an analytical part of me that can try to analyze, okay, why is this working and why is this not working? Why
Mm,
is this option better than this option? Okay, that's why, because of the my eyes go to the headline immediately. Here my eyes goes to the image and blah blah blah. So I can like try to find minute differences in the approach, and I can like cherry pick the best ideas from every single solution and maybe
wow.
merge them into an even better one. So once I've found that, like I can eliminate everything rest, and I only have that to focus on, and then I can jump into like fixing the small details of like how what's the distances in between stuff, and the scaling of stuff, and like if something needs to be moved from the grid, or like if to be aligned with something else and stuff like that. So my process is pretty rigid, I would say. I've tried it out so many times now, so I have it in my back pocket. So
That's awesome. Do you journal or
no.
no? It's all like mental note. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like in the best way possible. Not that you're like insane. It's impressive. Because like for me, like I need a journal. Like I started. Do you know Notion?
Yeah, yeah.
So like I would use Notion to like capture all my ideas, but I don't like being on my phone, and I love pencil. Like I love hearing the sound of the graphite. It's just amazing. But so I got a journal, filled it up like 120 pages in like 2 months with just ideas.
Hmm.
And so like I have like an infinite bank for my content that I'm making now, like for my UI design. So
Hmm.
that's just so cool that you're able to mentally capture all that stuff, man.
I mean, for the ideas, I do have I have a what do you call it, like uh, uh, the it's like Notion, but you just do like comments and stuff like that on your iPhone. I don't know what it's
Oh, is it
called.
like good notes or
Yeah, or text
notability?
edit. Yeah, or
Sure,
text the
something
super
like that.
basic one.
Yeah.
Yeah, super basic one.
Oh, like notes.
Uh,
Is it notes?
Notes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Notes. There we go.
Notes. Yeah, yeah. So I just if I have an idea somewhere else, like if I'm not in front of the computer, I can just sling it, write down a note and keep it for later. But I always keep them for like the days when I have the creative block, or don't have any
Yeah,
fresh ideas. So that's my go-to place when I get stuck. So
that's
I
important.
go, yeah.
Dude, so I don't want to take any more of your time, man. Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I learned so much. Like I learned so much. I'm looking to like play this right back like on double speed and just take notes on everything. But um what's the future gonna hold for the challenge, the posters?
uh,
1,000 days? 10,000?
yeah, yeah. I think my next goal is at least to reach 1,000 days. That's for sure a big milestone for me. Then we'll see. Like I start to miss animation a little bit, so maybe in the future we'll see like animated posters.
Oh,
Uh, that could be cool.
that would be cool. That would be so cool. Alrighty. Where can people reach you, and where can people buy your posters if they like it?
Instagram is the best way to reach me. Actually, that's where I hang out every day. So
Awesome,
my
awesome.
Instagram account, yeah.
We're gonna tag everything, and everything's gonna be linked in the description. But in case you don't want to look at the description, I have it right here. It's Mirza Talovic. Is that how you pronounce
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Talovic?
yeah.
Mirza Talovic, MirzaTalovic. Go follow him. Incredible person, an incredible designer, and also just incredible art in general. Alrighty, everybody, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Thank you, Mirza, for coming on. We'd love to have you again, my man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course.